I hope you guys can hear that. I hope you guys can hear that. My cat is in his crinkle tunnel and he is losing his mind. Hi guys, it's Sarah. Welcome back to another video here on my channel. How are we all doing? Are we doing good? Wow. So I'm coming off of two 10K writing days. I'm trying to do another 50,000 words in 30 days, and I am like 95% sure that before the end of July, I am gonna have the first draft of my like official rewrite of book 1 in my duology done. And I'm just like losing my mind over it because I can like feel it. Like, this is a book that I've been working on for over a decade now at this point, and it's just been like this story and this world and these characters that I know so much about, but I never felt like I was telling the story correctly. And now finally I'm like in this rewrite and I'm like, hold on, this is my book. This is the book that's gonna get published, and it's so exciting. But yeah, two 10K days in a row, and it was my partner's birthday. I'm a little I'm a little all over the place. I've also scripted 3 videos in 2 days. Just a little heads up, as we approach the end of summer and move into the fall, I am getting married in September. So we're very excited, but life's gonna get really busy really quick. So I just wanted to like disclaimer in advance, there will be weeks in the future where there's only one video, whether that's Monday's video or Friday's video. But I'm really glad I started doing 2, because now no matter what, you're getting at least 1 video a week. On the weeks where everything works out perfectly, there will be 2. And then also sometimes there will be secret fun surprise Wednesday videos. Wednesdays are gonna be for the books, okay? Wednesdays are gonna be book days, and that's when I'm gonna post book content. I'm working on a book video right now also, okay? The channel, I'm just pouring myself into it because this is where I want to be. This is what I want to be doing. So as I move forward through the rest of the summer, I'm just throwing myself into this full force. You guys are amazing. The support has been amazing, and I'm just feeling really good about where this is going. So yeah, we're just full steam ahead as we go through the end of the year, but I'm also getting married, so please be nice. On the note of support, I did just want to give a shout out to Isabel. You are my first member, and I am just, I could cry. It's so cool. Thank you so much for wanting to join. You mentioned in a comment that you hadn't done that before, and I just am so honored. Okay, now that I've almost cried, let's get into this week's round of Vampire Diaries episodes in which I probably will cry. We have something like one of my favorite, but also rip my heart out scenes, and I am excited. I'm so excited. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. So if you'll remember, our boy Stefan had his brain fried, so he didn't know anything. He's got amnesia, which is awesome for everyone involved, just what we all wanted. We open the episode with him and Damon in the car. They're driving. Stefan's reading through his journals, kind of slowly going through his entire past history, trying to remember stuff, but nothing's coming through. So he knows things like the type of car Damon drives, where they are, what year it is, but he doesn't know anyone, and he doesn't know himself. So he's been told, you know, you're a ripper, you can't have human blood, but he's kind of just like, are we sure? Like, are we really sure that I'm gonna have that problem? What if I don't have that problem anymore because the memories are gone? And Damon's like, I'd rather not take that chance. And Stefan is like, oh, I get it. I must be the fun brother, right? And you're the safe brother? Okay. And then to prove his point that he is in fact the fun, reckless, crazy brother, Damon just wrecks the car. I'm not talking like he runs off the road. I'm talking like the car goes like this. Okay, and then the car goes like that, all right? And the boys wake up in the road. And Stefan is like, I get it. You're the fun brother. And Damon's like, that's right. Like, I didn't need to see that at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning, boys. That wasn't necessary. Elena is really anxious about leaving Damon in charge of taking care of Stefan, but Caroline's kind of just like, look, amnesia patients sometimes become aggressive, they can get really cranky. He's probably safest with Damon because Damon's going to be able to handle him. How does Caroline know that about amnesia patients? That's right, Blondie has been doing her research because Stefan is her best friend and she's going to figure out how to help him if it's the last thing she does. Also, she's trying to get in good with Maxfield. I will not be calling this guy Dr. Maxfield because that's what he wants to be called, and I just refuse. So this is Maxfield, okay? He's not getting the doctor in front of his name. So in her quest to get closer to Maxfield to get information from him, Caroline's also inadvertently getting closer to Jesse, you know, cutie. He's Maxfield's intern, so if she can get in with him, she's got a better chance getting in with Maxfield. It's a whole situation. Caroline and Jesse are going back to Mystic Falls to have a study date on Remembrance Day, which is a day when the town rings bells to commiserate the people they've lost. I'm not making that up. Stefan has the same reaction to me to that holiday, and he's like, what's really going on here? This is a strange day to just have a party in town and ring bells. Damon is like, yeah, it's actually from when we used to accidentally bury people alive, and so they would pay to be buried with like a little bell, and the family would stand around them for 24 hours and see if they would hear the bell, and that meant the loved one could be unburied alive and then brought back. I know that that's a real thing that we did, okay, before anyone comes for me in the comments, but I just think it's so funny that there's a whole holiday to it. Like, this town is so silly, okay? There's a reason why they made a jokey song about it in the Legacies musical.
Founders Day, Remembrance Day, Decade Dance.
We'll get to that. So then a waitress comes to the table and Stefan almost attacks her. And that kind of proves Damon's point that like Stefan is inherently a ripper. Also, Elena comes up to the table and Stefan doesn't remember her name, which is a painful moment for her. We cut to Jeremy Gilbert working out on the landing of the front porch of the Salvatore house. It's a fine location, I guess. There's a platform there that he's using. Anyway, Bonnie is watching him, and I guess it's slightly less creepy because I think at this point he's 18 if you age when you're on the other side, because he was gone for like almost a year-ish. I don't know. The timeline gets really funky, okay? I don't think he's a child anymore. I think it's okay if we admit that he's very muscular. That's probably fine now. So yeah, Bonnie shows up and she's flirting with him, which again, are y'all best friends or are you in love or are you both? Make up your minds because you keep giving me mixed signals. The gang really wants her to help bring Stefan's memories back, but obviously she can't because she is dead. So this is again when Jeremy is like, Bonnie, we really need to tell everybody. And she's like, no, oh my God, Jeremy, we can't. So then Matt calls Jeremy and fills him in on the whole blacking out, waking up with mud on his boots situation. He's pretty sure that whatever Silas saw in his head is still there. And he's like, I don't know what to do about it. What's going on? I need help. He set up cameras so he can like watch himself and try to figure out what's happening to him. Then he starts freaking out and getting really emotional and asking Jeremy for help with Bonnie. He's like, you need to help me get in touch with her because I need Bonnie. I can't do this on my own. And Jeremy is just like, I can't do this right now, Matt. And he runs out. And Matt's like, where are you going? So Stefan does go after that poor waitress. And initially he bites her and lets her go. But then the Ripper instinct is too strong and he goes after her again. But don't worry, before he can like kill her, Damon shows up and stops him. So then Damon and Elena decide to take him to the family crypt in the cemetery. That way he's away from people and they can monitor him. In a lot of ways, Stefan is like a new vampire in this situation because he doesn't have memories of having been one before. So he's kind of starting over. He's not as crazy as like a true newbie vampire would be, but he's like pretty close. He has to like get a grip on everything all over again. So then Jeremy texts Damon and is like, come meet me alone right now. And Damon's like, I gotta go see a man about a witch. And he goes to leave and he doesn't like kiss Elena goodbye or anything. But as he passes by her, he like gently like runs his hand along her arm, like as he walks by to go out the door. They have so much just like quiet, subtle chemistry together. And I know the actors like dated in real life, and that is a whole can of worms we do not have time to get into right now, but they did. So they have like all this chemistry that is just like palpable, and it makes those kind of scenes and those little moments between them so cute. Like, oh my god, there's a reason why they're my favorite, people, and this is one of those reasons. Elena starts explaining her backstory to Stefan, because up until this point Damon had kind of left that blank. He was working through in chronological order, and they hadn't got to Stefan coming back to Mystic Falls and meeting Elena and dating Elena, and then Elena falling in love with Damon and then breaking up with Stefan and getting with Damon. They hadn't begun to touch that yet, and she decides to start taking Stefan around to all of their old like special spots. So think like the hallway where they met and the cemetery and stuff like that. He's not really thinking it's gonna work, but he's definitely got like an immediate like attraction and like pull to be with her, and he just kind of leans into that and like lets the day unfold. She teaches him how to use his vamp powers, and it's just cute. They're just bonding, okay? This is like a nice friendship moment. And then he goes and says, so we used to date, right? And it's a whole thing, because he's like, well, you're so beautiful and smart and awesome, and I don't think I would have just come back to high school for nothing, right? And she's like, yeah, right, yeah, we did, you came back for me. And she tells him that they broke up because of her becoming a vampire, which right now he's like, that's a silly reason, you're so hot, why would I do that? We cut to Jesse and Caroline studying in the woods. They are 100% starting to catch feelings for each other. Like, it's very clear on both sides. At this point, Caroline is still dating Tyler, but boy's dropped off the face of the earth. We don't know where he is. He's not answering her phone calls. He is not being consistent in any form, okay? So Jesse makes a move and kisses Caroline. When Caroline freaks out and is like, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think that should have happened. He's like, I'm so sorry. I just really wanted to do it. No problem. He goes back to studying as if nothing happened. So Damon goes to meet with Jeremy, and Jeremy just spills those beans, even though Bonnie is there. And she's like, Jeremy, please don't tell him. Jeremy just lets it all out. Damon starts to realize what he's going to say, and he's like, no, Jeremy, don't you say it. Don't say it. If you say it, then you're gonna ruin Elena's life. And Jeremy is like, Bonnie's dead. Damon is so angry, and he like storms away from Jeremy, and it looks like he's gonna just like rush from the house or break something or hurt Jeremy. And then he turns around and he just grabs Jeremy and gives him a hug. And Jeremy's just kind of standing there like, yeah, this sucks. Because this whole summer, Jeremy's been holding it together and not telling anybody and keeping this huge, awful secret. So then Elena takes Stefan to the bridge and explains to him about the like double almost drowning situation that she's been through. And he's kind of like, well, I'm so dumb for having let something happen to you. And she's like, no. You were the perfect boyfriend. You always valued what I wanted, even if it wasn't what you agreed with. Gravity starts to play in the background. She says that he was never a monster, and she was never afraid of him. Then she touches his face, and he is so into it, she freaks out. And he's like, no, hold on. But before they can kiss, she's like, yeah, so I'm with Damon. And he's like, you're dating my brother? What? And then it just becomes this whole mess, because it's like, girl, y'all should have started there. You should have said, hi, I'm your ex-girlfriend. I'm now dating your brother. Damon should have said, I'm so sorry, I took her from you. That should have been number one on the docket of things to tell Stefan. And now he finds out like this, and he runs away and leaves Elena alone at the quarry. So now we got a rogue, almost Ripper Stefan running around. Where's he gonna go? Matt wakes up and he's got a cut on his hand, and he's like, ow, how did that get there? He checks the cameras and finds a video of himself waking up on the couch. The phone is ringing, he answers it, and then somebody on the other line says something, his eyes turn black, and then he's that other guy, you know, he's got Gregor possessing him. Matt doesn't know that yet, but that's what it is. So he starts talking in Czech and everything, and Matt's like, what's going on? Creepy Matt walks right over to the camera smirking and is like, hello, Matt Donovan, with an accent, you know, because Gregor speaks Czech, and he's like, I'm the passenger inside of you. All you need to know right now is that this knife, and it's the knife that Gregor went and like dug up from his body and everything, he's like, this knife is important. You need to protect it with your life, because one day my friends are going to come for it. Then he cuts his palm and is like, or this will be your throat. This arc right here with Matt having Gregor in him and having to be like normal Matt and creepy traveler Matt is the only stuff that gives me any hope that Matt could have ever been cast as Damon, okay? Because the audition tapes, If you haven't seen the audition tapes where this dude says the Damon lines, oh my God, you gotta go watch those, guys. You think this show is cringy, all right? If you watch this show and you think to yourself, wow, this is awkward and weird, it could have been so much worse, all right? So much worse. Elena calls Damon in for backup since she lost Stefan, and he comes running because he's like, oh no. But also he knows Bonnie is dead now, so he's worried about running into Elena and having to tell her that. Caroline is actually the one that finds Stefan first. He's now wandering in the woods at the cemetery, you know, with everybody gathered for Remembrance Day, so that's a nice safe place for him to be. He says that he knows who she is, he knows that they're best friends, and also she's hotter in person. Caroline's like, okay, that was maybe an inside thought. And Stefan's like, sorry, I'm drunk. Also, I'm currently like almost in a Ripper spiral, so at any moment I could start popping the heads off people, including Jesse, who is with Caroline. Stefan threatens him, and then Caroline is like, Jesse, go hide somewhere, okay? I'll come find you soon. Then she tells Stefan, you know, you can't do this. You cannot be a Ripper. You've got to calm down. I'm your sponsor. I will take care of you. Let's go to my car. I have some blood bags. She turns her back on him. That's right, he runs away. Jesse hid in the family crypt, and Stefan goes and attacks him. He does stop himself. And again, he's like, see, I'm fine. I can stop. I'm not a Ripper. Everything's fine. We're working it out. We're working it out, dude. We're okay. Jesse is freaking out. He's like, why did you bite me? Am I gonna be murdered? What's going on? Are you a vampire? Stefan's like, yeah, bro, but it's gonna be fine. I'm handling myself. You're gonna make it out of here A-okay. Everything's gonna be fine. But then, because Stefan is spiraling, he's like, you know what though? I'm supposed to not be a Ripper. I'm supposed to be a good guy. What's that done for me? What's being good done for me? I don't have a girlfriend anymore because my brother took her from me. Like, what's the point in being good and doing all these good deeds if I don't have anything to show for it? And then he attacks Jesse again. Jeremy goes to see Matt because Matt needs help. And instead of helping, Jeremy drops the Bonnie bomb on him, so now Matt knows too. Caroline stops Stefan from killing Jesse and then yells at Stefan and is like, bad Stefan, you're better than this. So Stefan runs away and Caroline heals Jesse and he's gonna be fine. Elena and Damon find Stefan at home and he is burning all of his old journals. He no longer wants to be second place to Damon or the person that supports Elena through her troubles because he no longer trusts them. So he's gonna go. And Caroline's gonna be his supporter and she's gonna help him figure out what he needs to do. Elena is like, I don't understand what's going on. Why won't Bonnie call us back? Why isn't she helping us? Like, there's gotta be something she can do for Stefan. And Damon just kind of tells her. He's literally just like, Elena, Bonnie is dead. And that is honestly like the best way to tell her, in my opinion, because it doesn't drag it out. There's no like big story or like a way that he can talk himself out of it. It's just the truth. And again, that's on character growth. Because a couple seasons ago, Damon would have been like, we need to do everything in our power to not tell her the truth about this. We cut to Stefan back in the crypt. Caroline comes in behind him, and when he turns around, he sees that she's in a black dress. She says that her friend, their friend, Bonnie, is dead and they're having a funeral. He asks what happened and she's like, I can't even give you an explanation to that because if I do, I'm gonna start crying and then I'm never gonna be able to stop. He says he wishes that he could remember her and she's like, I wish I could trade places with you because then maybe it wouldn't hurt so much. Then Caroline is like, I just don't even know how to move forward because I don't have anybody left. And Stefan is like, you have me. I'll be here for you because you were always there for me and I can be there for you now. And that I'll get you through it. We can do it together. And it's such a good moment. Elena is trying to find something to wear to the funeral, but she burned her house down with all her funeral clothes in it. So she ends up just having a meltdown. Damon just ends up holding her through this because she is having like a full panic attack over the fact that Bonnie and Stefan both like sacrificed themselves. Like Bonnie literally gave her life to give Jeremy back. And then Stefan was just trapped in the safe all summer suffering while Elena had like the best summer of her life. She's just having a hard time like dealing with the trauma and the truth of everything that's happened to them. Damon just ends up holding her through this and like stroking her hair and telling her that it's gonna be okay. He is such a rock in hard times, okay? He's a family man and I love him. Then we have Bonnie's funeral, and like it is as painful as you guys think it's gonna be. Okay, this is the scene. I've seen this scene like at this point 7 times, 6 or 7 times easily. I cry every single time. There's a couple scenes in this show that just truly and completely destroy me every single time, and this is one of them. It's a long scene too. It just keeps going, and there's something about the way that it's filmed and the lighting and the sound, like the way that they pair music to this show. They just don't do TV like that anymore, okay? But good God, it's powerful and it's emotional, and I lose my mind every time. So this is what happens. It's not the whole town or even at the church. It's just in the middle of the woods, and it's just the main friend group mourning her and saying goodbye. They put different things on a tree stump to like honor her and have like a little Bonnie shrine. It's her pom-poms, a picture of them together, and then Elena sprinkles feathers. Oh my God. Damon puts the grimoire on the pile. Like, are you kidding? And then it gets even worse because Bonnie shows up next to Jeremy. She tells him that it's okay, they need this, and so does she, and it's a good thing that they're doing this for her. Jeremy is the one that rings the bell for Bonnie, and then he's like, I don't know what else to say. And Bonnie is like, say this, and she starts to talk, okay? So Bonnie is talking, Jeremy is translating for Bonnie. So the rest of the scene is gonna be like Bonnie talking, Jeremy talking, Bonnie talking, Jeremy talking. And as it's filmed, Bonnie will be like directly talking to somebody, and then it'll pan out and she won't be there, and it'll be Jeremy talking. It's so good, okay? It's so good, but oh my God, it's painful. Bonnie says that she's not going anywhere. And even though they couldn't see her, she's been there the whole time. To Elena, she's like, I just watched you have the summer of your life. I got to see you be so stupidly, obliviously happy, and it was amazing. I know that you feel like now you can't have a normal life and you've got to come back here and take care of everybody, but you don't. So you're gonna go home and you're gonna pack and you're gonna go back to college and live it up. And Elena's just sobbing. It's just tears everywhere. To Matt, she's like, you didn't do anything wrong. I would have sent you 300 emails back if I could. I miss you. And then she gets to Caroline and she's like, I watched you decorate that dorm room like your life depended on it. And I know that college isn't everything that you expected, but Tyler? Caroline turns around and Tyler is standing there in a suit with a rose for Bonnie. I'm not kidding. So now everyone's there to properly say goodbye to Bonnie, and we get this shot of Jeremy like holding out his hand and Bonnie taking it, so they're holding hands. And then like in between their arms, we see Damon and Elena holding each other, Caroline and Tyler holding each other, and then poor freaking Matt just standing there trying to keep himself together. It's such a good scene, but oh my God. Then we cut abruptly to the lab at Whitmore, okay, back at the college. Maxfield is running tests on Jesse. Jesse's like, I can't remember what happened to me. I don't know what's going on, but I guess I'm fine. Maxfield is like, well, you have vampire blood in your system. So either somebody hurt you and then compelled you to forget about it, or they were trying to turn you. But given the fact that they compelled you, I think it's safe to say they were just trying to cover their tracks. Jesse freaks out, and then Maxfield is like, oh, don't worry. Having vampire blood in your system is only step 1 to becoming a vampire. This is step 2. And then he injects something into Jesse's leg that freaking kills him, and Jesse dies. So then in episode 5, Maxfield wakes Jesse up with a blood bag, and we find out that he's been keeping Jesse there. He hasn't given him any blood since the transition phase, so Jesse is just terrified and confused. He doesn't know what's going on, he's not been told anything, and he's starving. So it's not going to end well. Elena is journaling and gives us a little recap of what's happened, which is that Stefan still has no memories, Caroline and Tyler are back together and keep hooking up in the dorm room, and Elena is throwing herself into what happened to Megan because she couldn't fix what happened to Bonnie, so now she's just like, I'll figure out what happened to Megan, I'll uncover that truth, and that'll make me feel better. Bonnie is also still hovering with Elena and checking on her. Damon calls Elena and she declines his call. And then he comes around the statue that she's sitting in front of and he's like, busted, why are you avoiding me? And she is just kind of like, no, I'm not avoiding you, like we've been texting. And he's like, yeah, you invited me to the ball because there's gonna be a costume ball at Whitmore. And he's like, and then you just dropped it off the face of the earth. So I'm here, I'm going with you to the ball, and now you can't avoid me, surprise. Caroline is still trying to get Tyler to come to college, so she's like got his major picked out, got his course load stuff handled. She's like, all you have to do is like fully register for classes and you're good to go. I got you a single room, like everything's set up, everything's perfect. He's being avoidant, but she is missing that because she's so happy that he's there with her. Elena runs into this dude at Megan's shrine. He knew Megan growing up, they were friends, and he is kind of like bitter and weird about what happened to her. He thinks that she definitely didn't take her own life, but he's also like, I'm not gonna tell you what I think happened, leave me alone, you're weird. When Elena tries to get his name, he's even like, yeah, I'm not giving that to you, and then he leaves. Weird sort of time plot hole situation. Days have gone by, as far as I know. It's been at least a couple days, and yet Silas calls Nadia and acts like she just took Catherine from him, like the day before. I don't think that that's correct. I think it's just a weird timing thing that happened with the writing. But yeah, Silas calls Nadia and he's like, give me Catherine, I want her back. And Nadia's like, absolutely not. You can have her when I'm done with her. Catherine doesn't understand why they don't just let Silas bite her and take the cure, since all he wants to do is die. And Nadia explains that he doesn't just need to bite Catherine, he has to take every drop of her blood. Damon and Jeremy are talking about the Bonnie situation and what they think they should do. Damon's pretty convinced that they should work with Silas, because if Bonnie was a witch and could do the spell that brought Jeremy back, then why can't Silas do a spell to bring Bonnie back and switch places with her? Because Silas still, remember, just wants to die. So Damon's like, why don't we just do that, and then we could get 2-for-1 deal and we'd get Bonnie back. Bonnie's a little hesitant because she doesn't trust Silas and she doesn't believe that he won't like screw them over. She's also concerned because in order to like break the other side spell, which is what Silas needs to do in order for him to die and not be trapped with Ketsia, you know, that whole situation. She's like, that spell that is binding the other side, it must be connected to something super, super powerful. Like the anchor needed to be strong enough to support that spell has got to be absolutely insane. So then Silas comes in and confirms, yes, there is an anchor. Yes, he's trying to destroy it. Ketsia is the only one who knows what the anchor is. And for some reason, she's going to the costume ball. So now they're all going to the costume ball. Silas tells Damon that all he needs from him in exchange for helping them get Bonnie back is for Damon to kill Stefan. Then we go back to Nadia and Catherine. Nadia says that she's been trailing Catherine for years and she just has a few questions for her and then she'll let her go. Catherine is like, okay, what do you want to know? Nadia then begins to tell her a whole story about how Catherine is the reason why Nadia's mother is dead. Basically, Catherine stayed with her mom while she was running from Klaus, and then Klaus's men showed up and Catherine was like, that's Katerina over there. And so they killed Nadia's mom instead of killing Catherine, and Catherine got away again. So then Nadia got herself turned into a vampire so that she could hunt Catherine down and like confront her for that. As they're leaving the diner, Catherine grabs a cane and just stabs Nadia in the chest with it. Caroline and Tyler show up to the costume ball dressed as Bonnie and Clyde. It's very cute. Stefan shows up dressed as James Dean, and he just sweeps Caroline onto the dance floor and they start dancing. Damon and Elena are Anne Boleyn and Henry. I'm not kidding. She is having a really hard time being like normal with Damon. Not that she doesn't love him or doesn't want to be with him, but just like being happy with him and like letting herself be in that like happy romantic relationship space is really hard for her right now because of what happened to Stefan and Bonnie. So she's kind of like warring with herself about that. Meanwhile, Damon is like, I just want to be your boyfriend. Please don't leave me again. Elena zones in on Megan's friend, but he still doesn't want to talk to her, so she has to use compulsion on him. He didn't kill Megan, which is what Elena initially believes, but he does say that there's like a weird curse on him and everyone around him dies. Like his friends, his parents, everybody just like dies in his life. So he has like really, really, really bad survivor's guilt, which Elena can relate to. Also, his name is Aaron. Ketsia shows up and goes straight for Stefan. She tries to flirt, but he kind of blows her off. He's like letting it happen, but not really engaging in it. He figures out who she is, and she's like, yeah, I'm so sorry. I am the one that fried your brain. My bad. And he's just like, oh, okay. And then before anything can happen there, Damon shows up, grabs Stefan, and takes him away, and is like, yeah, that's Ketsia. Leave her alone. And Stefan's like, right, yeah, I understand. I should probably do that. And then Silas pops up, and Stefan's like, what's going on here? And Damon snaps Stefan's neck. Silas takes Stefan's jacket so that he can start pretending to be Stefan at the party. Basically, the link between them, as long as Stefan is like dead/unconscious, then Silas has his mind control powers back. So with his powers back, Silas can then get inside Ketsia's head and figure out where the anchor is. He's pretty sure that because she went straight for Stefan, she'll fall for him like very easily. So he just goes back into the party, makes a beeline for Ketsia, starts getting her drunk, starts dancing with her. They're having a good time. Caroline's trying to flirt with Tyler, and she's very much like, we're back together now and everything is fine vibes. But Tyler, like I said, is very anxious. He's being very suspicious. He is not telling the truth about something, but he won't tell her what's wrong. So while Silas and Ketsia are dancing, he tries to get her to admit that she's still in love with Silas, and she's like, yeah, no, absolutely not. And then he's like, oh, okay. I guess there was a part of me that just wanted to hear you say you were still in love with me. Like, my ego's just crazy like that. And she realizes it's not Stefan, it's Silas. And girl is panicked, okay? She's like, oh, Silas, no. And she like can't even get the words out. And he's like, up, shh. And he like keeps her in place with his mind control powers and jumps in her head to try to find the anchor. But she says she doesn't actually know where it is because the travelers took it and they keep moving it. There's an old pendant of hers that's somewhere in Whitmore House, which is the whole reason why she came. It's like on display because this is like the Whitmore Historical Society or whatever. So she's come to get that pendant because it should make her strong enough so that she can do a spell to find the anchor. So Silas sends her after it and is like, forget everything. You danced with Stefan and now you're bored. Go find your necklace. And she's like, oh my God, bye Stefan. I have to go find something. And she leaves. Stefan wakes up, which hurts Silas, and his powers start to go away again. Stefan's like, what's going on? Are you gonna tell me what's happening? Damon says that he's doing what he's doing for Elena, and then he breaks Stefan's neck again. Nadia is now in the back alley of that restaurant struggling to get the steak out of her chest. Catherine shows up and is like, I grazed your heart on purpose because I know you were lying to me. So she says that the time frame that Nadia gave her about that sob story about her mom had to be fake and had to be a lie because at that point everyone in Klaus's little army knew what Catherine looked like because she'd been running from him / connected to him for so long that they wouldn't have just mistaken another woman for her. So Nadia is like, okay, but you did kill my mom. And then she gives the story of what happened to Catherine the night with Rose when Catherine tried to slice and dice, and then Rose gave her blood, and so then Catherine jumped off a chair. That whole situation, Nadia tells her that story, and Catherine's like, what are you saying? And Nadia reveals that her name is Nadia Petrova, and she is Catherine's missing kid that got taken from her. Maxfield comes to the costume ball as Dr. Jekyll, which is just ridiculous. Elena asks him to dance, which is weird as hell, and then he accepts, which is even worse. She calls him out about Megan's fake death certificate, and he says that he actually thinks it was a vampire that hunted her down and killed her. She asks how he knows about vampires, and he's like, yeah, that shouldn't matter to you. What should matter is there are people asking questions about you and your friends, and you guys should pack up and leave the college because we know what you are. Tyler finally admits that he doesn't want to come back to college, and Caroline is like, okay, that's fine. I'm just glad you're here. I'm just glad we're together. But Tyler is like, yeah, about that. He says they're only back together because Klaus granted them permission to be together, and he can't live like that. He admits that he actually came back to say goodbye to Caroline so that he could then go after Klaus and ruin his life the way Klaus ruined his. Caroline is like, you know, for somebody who seems to hate him, you're a lot like him. Ketsia finds her necklace and does her spell and finds the anchor, and then Silas shows up pretending to be Stefan, gets the answer, so he knows what the anchor is too, but then Stefan wakes up, so then he gets hurt, and Ketsia is like, Stefan, what's going on? What's happening? So Stefan plays dead, and then when Damon comes over and is like, hey brother, you awake? Brother, you awake? Hey brother, are you good? He jumps on Damon and breaks his neck and runs off. Ketsia is freaking out with who she thinks is Stefan, and she's just like, what happened? What's happening to you? Are you okay? And then real Stefan comes in and is like, that's Silas, and then starts beating the crap out of Silas Stefan. So they get into a fight. Stefan takes back his daylight ring and tells Ketsia what's been going on and that Silas and Damon are working together and they've been lying to Ketsia all night. Ketsia realizes that this means Silas knows where the anchor is too, and so she does a spell on him that like desiccates him while he's awake. And he is like, you can't kill me, you love me. And she's like, I did love you, but you broke my heart. And so she finishes the spell and Silas is like desiccated again, but not dead. Maxfield freaking knows Aaron. Yeah, they're connected somehow. He takes his keys because Aaron's been drinking and he's like, you will not be driving home drunk. And Aaron's like, okay, fine. So he's apparently Aaron's legal guardian and he has access and control over Aaron's money because I guess Aaron's not 18. Maxfield tells Aaron to leave Elena alone and that he cares about him even if Aaron doesn't believe it. Elena and Damon find Silas and she's like, oh my god, this is amazing. Who desiccated him? This is incredible. But Damon is like, actually, this is very bad. Nadia wakes up with the stake removed from her chest and Catherine's in the hotel room with her. Nadia says she was a fool for not running because Catherine needs to get away from Silas, but Catherine's like, look, he's got to destroy the other side before he even needs me, so we've got time, okay? I've got a few more days at least. Catherine then asks Nadia where she was in 1498, and Nadia's like, I don't know, I was 8. And Catherine's like, well, I'm only asking because I looked everywhere for you and I couldn't find you. So she went back to Bulgaria for Nadia. There's a scene after Catherine gets away from Klaus and Elijah. She goes back to Bulgaria and she finds her family murdered by Klaus and his men. That was her going back, and then we can assume that that's when she looked for Nadia and she just couldn't find her. So then Nadia starts to cry, Catherine starts to cry. Catherine holds out a teacup to her and says, it's nice to meet you. So Tyler is packing up to leave and Caroline catches him. She says that she can't keep having this conversation with him and she can't keep waiting for him to come back. He needs to decide to love her more than he hates Klaus. But Tyler says he can't do that. So he's leaving and she's over here. All right, his back is to her. And she's like, if you take one more step, we're over. There's no coming back from this. We're done forever. We see Tyler's face. He's crying. He takes like one stumbling step forward and then like very quickly leaves the room, and Caroline just sits down on the bed and sobs. Back at the Salvatore house, Elena tells Damon everything about Maxfield, and she's realized now what I said before, which is that she was fixating on Megan to fix what happened with Bonnie, but that's not how grief works. They have Silas's body in the living room, and Damon makes a joke about it, and he's like, he says something like, wow, I never thought we'd have, you know, a 2,000-year-old dead witch in our living room. Something like that. I just wanted to point out that he calls it our living room, because that implies that she's part of the family and the house is partially hers, and that hurts me. Elena is trying to wrap her head around the whole Silas-Bonnie plan and how they're gonna make it all work when there is a knock at the door. Damon goes to answer it, and it's Catherine. She comes inside, and she's like, you know, I really don't have time for this. I'm on the run. And then she sees Silas's desiccated body, and she's like, actually, I guess I have all the time in the world. What do you guys need? She turns to Damon, and she's like, how does it feel to have actually done something right for once? Damon is looking a little feral, and he says, thrilling. And then he bites Catherine and goes to shove her onto Silas. She starts begging, and she's like, Damon, I don't want to die. Damon, please. Damon, please. Please, Damon, no. And Elena is in the background being like, because she didn't know this was gonna happen. He didn't tell a damn soul. He says, goodbye, Catherine, and then just like forces her onto Silas so that Silas can drink from her. We see Silas like have the strength to like reach up and grab Catherine, so he's undesiccating, he's draining her of blood. She falls off of him, and the final shot is like Catherine sprawled out dead on the floor, Silas on the couch slowly waking up, and Damon and Elena standing over them like, oh my god, that just happened. It's absolutely quiet, and then Damon and Elena are like, hold the phone. Do you hear that? Catherine's heart starts beating. She wakes up and she's like, am I in hell? I've reheated my coffee. Let's get back into it for episode 6. Catherine has a new lease on life. She actually has a second chance. No one is chasing her. No one is trying to capture her. Everything is good. And then she finds a huge streak of gray hair just like sprouting from her head randomly. No warning. The whole thing is gray. So she's panicking. Damon and Elena are all cuddled up on the couch, and she's like, this is perfect. I love this day for us. This is amazing. And Damon is like, yes, any second now, someone's going to come in and ruin our peace. And she's like, Damon, no. And he's like, 10, 9. And she's like, Damon, 8, 7. Damon, stop. It's not funny. 6, 5. Damon, I'm serious. Leave it alone. 3, 2. Silas comes in. So Silas comes strolling in, and he's like, good morning, frenemies. How are we doing? He opens the windows with his powers because now he's a witch again. So he's just like giddy and happy and excited for the day. And Damon and Elena are like, it is so weird seeing you in this good of a mood. Stefan wakes up on Ketsia's couch, and she's like, hey, do you remember last night? We bonded, we drank tequila, there were body shots, now we're best friends. And Stefan's like, yeah, okay. Ketsia's in a good mood because she saw a text on Stefan's phone from the gang saying that Silas took the cure, which means he's killable. Elena's having a hard time trusting Silas since he's a crazy murderer who tends to lie, and he is like, oh, okay, no problem. Do you want me to pinky swear? He's unhinged, okay? But Silas is like, y'all, this is the day I've been waiting for, okay? I just want to destroy that anchor, break the other side, and die. I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this. It's here, let's go, let's get it done. And then, yeah, while he's transitioning over, he's gonna do the spell that will let Bonnie take his place and come back across. So now they're all headed to New Jersey because the anchor is hidden in some warehouse out there. Damon mentions Snooki. He's like, why is the anchor in Snooki's backyard? And every time they mention pop culture, I'm like, oh, what's going on? Somebody in the comments a while ago, like several videos back, mentioned that, like how weird it is when they reference things. Like, is Damon just like watching Jersey Shore? How does he know about them? What is he doing? Is he just watching Jersey Shore? Silas is still being kind of flighty and weird. Jeremy shows up with his crossbow, and Silas is like, I'm feeling really ganged up on here, guys, okay? I'd hate to lose my temper. And he goes like this, and fire just like pops out on all of his fingers, and the vampires in the room are like, oh, that's not good. So then Jeremy puts his bow down because he's like, okay, I guess we're working together. I guess we're a team. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This could be a big reason why I'm weirdly attracted to Silas in these moments, because you give a man fire magic and I'm immediately gonna be like, yeah, that's my husband. I don't make the rules, but like it started with the flame guy in Sky High, and it's just gotten worse. Prince Zuko? Y'all knew I was a Zuko girly. Don't even deny it. If you're acting shocked behind your phone right now, you're lying to yourself. You knew. You knew. My second favorite is Sokka. Anyway, that's a story for another day. Ketsia then explains to Stefan about how the travelers have been moving the anchor for 2,000 years, and she is like so not concerned, and Stefan can't figure out why, and she just says that she made the anchor something that Silas would never ever be able to destroy, so she's not worried. Silas, Damon, and Jeremy head out to go to New Jersey. Elena tries to come, and Silas is like, yeah, you're not coming. You look too much like Amara, and I don't want to have to stare at you all day. Absolutely not. Damon is like, it's really fine. It's not that big of a deal. Silas is like, look, dude, you would get it if you'd ever been in love with somebody who looked just like her. And Damon's like, And Elena just ignores that and insists that she needs to come. So then Silas shoots her in the leg with Jeremy's crossbow, and they leave her behind. Stefan's still kind of concerned and confused about how he ended up in the middle of everything. Ketzia's like, don't even worry your pretty little head about it. I've been scheming and planning this for so long. I've thought of everything. Then she goes to leave the cabin, and she can't get out because Silas spelled them inside. It'll last until sundown, and she knows that because she taught Silas the spell. Elena comes out of the bathroom in the girls' dorm, and she's holding a box of hair dye. So that's Catherine. And then Caroline comes in, and she's kind of freaking out because she's upset about Tyler. Jesse won't answer her calls, and she doesn't know where he is. And also they need to pack to leave. Elena is like, why are we leaving? Why are we moving out? Caroline's like, because Maxfield knows we're vampires and it's not safe anymore. Then she realizes, you're freaking Catherine. She goes to attack her. But Catherine is like, you know, it's really un-Caroline of you to be running away. If you give me a place to stay and feed me, I will help you get the information from Maxfield that you need and get him to stop bothering you. And Caroline agrees. Elena calls Stefan, but Ketsia answers. And Ketsia makes this so awkward. She's like, oh my God, Stefan's in the shower. I'm sorry. He got messy. And Elena's like, will you remind Stefan that you're a crazy bitch? And Ketsia's like, oh, I would, but I'm pretty sure that's his type. She's so wackadoodle, okay? Then Elena calls Damon and is like, why on earth is Stefan with Ketsia? And Silas interrupts and is like, oh, that's probably because Damon and I were working together, and then we kind of pushed him to Ketsia because he doesn't feel like he can trust any of you guys now. Oopsies, that's probably my fault. And so yeah, Damon has to admit that he broke Stefan's neck multiple times and didn't explain why he was doing it. And Elena's like, no wonder he's mad at us. Damon, what the heck? Elena's like, okay, well, I'm going to the cabin. And Silas is like, oh my gosh, you totally should go to the cabin. Go have fun at the cabin. And then they get off the phone. So it's Jeremy in the backseat, Silas driving, Damon in the passenger seat, and Silas goes, knock, knock. Silence. He's like, knock, knock. Knock, knock. Who's there? The mayor. The mayor who? Damon plays along and is like, who? Silas goes, no one. That's the joke. Because I killed the mayor. He's the worst. Like, what even? Part of me wants that to have been like some weird ad-libbing between the actors, but I think someone wrote that. I think somebody said, what if Silas is in such a good mood, he tells a knock-knock joke about killing Bonnie's dad, and they kept it in the script. Maxfield is still running tests on Jesse's blood, and then Caroline shows up. She freaks him out a little bit by like stealing his tape recorder and then ending up in front of him to spook him. Before he can be like, Caroline, what are you doing here? Catherine jumps out and knocks him out. Elena shows up at the cabin, and Ketsia's like, oh my God, Stefan's fated love. Who am I to stand in the way of destiny? Come on in. And Elena comes inside. Stefan is like, oh boy, you should not have done that. She apologizes to him and says that she would not have let Damon do what he did if she'd known what was going on. But Stefan is like, yeah, you would have, because you always pick him. Like, you're gonna pick his needs over mine. She realizes that Stefan was not sleeping with Ketsia, so now she feels silly. She goes to leave and can't because now they're all stuck inside. The boys show up to the warehouse where the anchor is supposed to be. At this point, Silas starts kind of like picking on Damon about how Elena and Stefan are supposed to be together, and Damon's just standing in their way, just like Ketsia, and he's no better than her, and blah, blah, blah. Damon is like, here's the thing though, my buddy, my pal, you and Amara were separated, okay? You were torn apart, and you are moving heaven and earth to be back together again, okay? That's not fate. That's you being a crazy person. Inside the warehouse, they find just like a ton of wooden crates and boxes. Silas has no idea what the anchor looks like, so they have to just start looking for it and ripping everything open and hoping they find it. Maxfield wakes up tied to a chair with the girls watching him. They're planning to drain him of his vervain blood so that then Caroline can compel him, but they don't really know how much they're gonna take, so it's like a 50-50 chance they might kill him. So he's very nervous. He lets it slip that the people that were watching them are gathering at Whitmore House, and they're gonna have like a secret society meeting for that whole secret thing that we still don't know about. They were going to invite Elena, but then they thought she was a vampire, so they said no. And Catherine is like, oh my God. So all we have to do is convince them that Elena Gilbert's not a vampire? and then her and Caroline smile at each other. Bonnie's in the warehouse with Jeremy helping him look. It's not going super well. She just has this feeling like the spell is not gonna work, and so she's trying to like not get super excited. Jeremy, on the other hand, is like all eggs in the basket, ready to go. He wants her back. He's gonna get her back. He's gonna do whatever he needs to do. And all of that is kind of like weighing on Bonnie because she's just worried about him being disappointed when it inevitably doesn't work, because that's what she's worried about. Ketsia calls Damon and threatens to kill Elena if Damon doesn't kill Silas before sundown. Obviously they're in the cabin, so Elena hears this phone call, and so does Stefan. And Stefan and Damon are like equally kind of like, what the heck you mean you're gonna hurt Elena? Like both of them have like the same reaction of just like, that's not fair. We can't be doing that. But Ketsia is just like full steam ahead. She's gonna use Elena as bait. She doesn't care. Catherine goes to the gathering and just waltzes right in. So the security lady is like a part of this secret society. She is the one that told them that Megan took her own life. So we know they're all connected now in covering up Megan's murder. So Catherine runs into Aaron again, and Aaron's just kind of like, you know, I can't figure out why I'm supposed to stay away from you. Like what's going on here? Because you seem pretty harmless to me, because he catches her just like stuffing extra food into her pockets and her purse, because for whatever reason, Catherine's always hungry. It's got something to do with what happened after she lost the cure. She asks if he knows about the secret society, and that's why they're gathered today. Like, does he know about it? Is he part of it? Can he tell her anything? And he's like, yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she loses a tooth. Like a tooth comes out of her mouth and she spits it out into her hand, and she's holding a tooth. Elena is having a truly terrible day in the cabin, okay? She's like sitting by herself crying, and Ketsia is just tormenting her for fun because she looks like Amara. She is like the ultimate mean girl, okay? She's worse than Haley, because Haley liked Tyler and it was just like kind of messy, okay? And it wasn't good, but it was not this level of like viciousness and cruelty, all right? Ketsia is mean. Elena is upset because Silas was planning to bring Bonnie back, but now Ketsia said that Damon has to kill Silas or Elena will die, and Damon, who's never put anyone's life above hers, including his own, is not going to be able to not do what Ketsia told him to do. Ketsia fully starts laughing about how upset Elena is. Like, she thinks it's funny. Stefan is upset by what Elena said, and we know that, but he pretends like he thinks Ketsia is funny, and he like leans into her and continues to flirt. Never been so scared in my life. I thought we lost footage, but we're good. We're good. Damon tells Jeremy what Ketsia wants him to do, and he's basically like, yeah, I'm sorry, the plan's off. We can't get Bonnie back. Bonnie is upset, but not like, Bonnie's upset, but she understands. And she's like, absolutely, you can't lose Elena. It's okay. Jeremy is like, I'm so sorry. She's my sister. She's like, it's okay. I'm not upset. It's fine. Go help Damon. He goes running inside. Damon's already in the warehouse, and he gets attacked by two of the travelers. He's like, why are you guys fighting with me? I was gonna kill Silas. I'm on your side. And they're like, we don't want him dead yet. And Damon's like, too bad. And he kills them. Maxfield almost dies because they did almost take too much of his blood. But Caroline like catches it and fixes it and stops it from happening, so he's technically fine. She compels him to answer her questions. He tells us that the society is called Augustine. Most people are legacies, but others like him are brought in because of their abilities. So like he was chosen because he's really smart. He says he covered up Megan's death because it wasn't just any vampire that killed her. It was the Augustine vampire. Then the lady from the security team comes in and she's like, where were you? I was looking for you. Caroline tells him to forget everything and say he's tired from donating blood, and then leaves him there. The security lady is like, why did you think Elena was a vampire? She's clearly not. He's like, I can't remember why I thought that. I guess I must have been wrong. Stefan makes dinner and feeds Ketsia like from the pot, and she's just like all over him in the kitchen, and Elena's having to watch. Elena just can't take it anymore and is like, I know you hate me, but I know you, and the person that you are would never like somebody like her. Ketsia's like, that's super rude, especially for somebody that I'm allowing to live. Oh, look at that. It's almost sundown. I better check in on your boyfriend. When Ketsia goes to call Damon, Stefan starts whispering to Elena, and he's like, I don't hate you. You've just gotta trust me. I'm not gonna let her do anything to you. I promise. And Elena is like, oh my god, I knew it. Damon answers Ketsia and is like, yeah, I hit a snag. Your freaking travelers are here and they're attacking me. She's like, oh yeah, they probably want Silas's blood. You know, they're not fans of immortality, so they probably want to take that from him because, you know, the anchor that I had to use to bind the spell had to be immortal. It had to be something that would never die. So while she's being all cryptic with Damon on the phone, we see Silas walking up to like a human-shaped box. Do you see where this is going? Before Ketsia can do anything else, Stefan then lashes out at Ketsia and stabs her. Then he throws her up against the wall, tells Elena to run, and the two of them take off out of the cabin. Damon has figured out what the anchor must be, and that it's not a thing, it's a person. Because if the travelers take Silas's blood, then they can use the cure on the other immortal being. So Silas opens the crate and finds Amara. She's desiccated, but she's basically like a beautiful Elena statue in the box. He's so freaking excited that she's alive. He brings her a guard. He gives her the guard to drink. She drains the guard. She starts to wake up. He's like, Amara, it's me. And she opens her eyes. We cut to Silas carrying Amara away. She is like freaking out and being like, go away, leave me alone, go away. And he's like, girl, who are you talking to? It's me, it's Silas. What's going on? What's happened? Are you okay? What's going on? She calms down and sees that it's him and is like, yeah, Ketsia never murdered me. There was only one cure and it was always for you. That was always her plan. He's like, I'm so sorry, but I took it because I wanted to be with you. I wanted to find peace with you. She's like, the cure runs through your veins. They hug. And she then says, I'm so sorry, Silas. I love you, but I have to be cured. She starts drinking his blood. And when she pulls back, she's like, I can't live another day. Back at the lab, Maxfield gets visited by Catherine and she gives back his missing recorder. She tells him that she knows all about his vampire research and what he's been up to, and she won't tell anyone as long as he helps her, because it's Catherine and she's dying and she wants him to figure out what's wrong. Amara is stumbling away from Silas's body and she's like, no, leave me alone. It's not up to you. Leave me alone. And pulling at her hair and hyperventilating, and then Damon pops up. She's like, are you real? And he's like, are you? Stefan brings Elena home safe and she's like, even with no memory, you're still you, which means a lot to her. He says that Elena doesn't seem like somebody who deserves to be killed, so he just went on instinct and protected her. Damon and Jeremy are home too. They're both pretty upset about the fact that they didn't work the stuff out with Bonnie and weren't able to bring her home. Elena is like, it's okay, and then like to the room at large, knowing that Bonnie's there, she's like, it's gonna be okay, Bonnie. We're not gonna give up. We're gonna get you back. And Jeremy agrees. He's like, we will figure out a way to get you back. It's gonna happen. Damon is very concerned because Silas is free and very angry. And now Amara is a cured human who can be killed. So she's gotta be protected. Then he shows Elena that he like tied up Amara. And when Amara sees Elena and realizes they look alike, she just screams. Stefan goes up to his room and Ketsia is waiting for him. She's hurt that Stefan betrayed her, and she even kept the knife wound open so she can remember how much he hurt her. She's so annoying. She made a mistake when they met and she never should have taken away his pain. And then she does a spell that just like slam bams all his memories back into himself. She says to always remember that of all the people he loves, she's the one that actually came and saved him. We cut to black and we just hear Stefan's like panicked breathing as the credits roll. That's where we're gonna stop today, guys. What's going on? I think that the final nail in the coffin for me with Ketsia is how it was evil enough when we thought she killed Amara, okay? That was pretty brutal, that sucked, but the reality of what she did, which is taking Amara's like immortal body, making her the anchor, so that then when Silas inevitably crossed over into the other side, it would be Amara keeping Ketsia and Silas trapped together forever. That is just That's so not cool. Oh my god. If you guys did enjoy the video and you're enjoying this series, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. I'm here every Friday with Vampire Diaries videos, and we recently started Once Upon a Time recaps on Mondays, so check those out if you're interested. I'd love to hear from you guys down below, and I will see you all so soon. Have a good one. Bye!